felt like in my journey before I met Will, I was on a hike through life, and every step I took, and I had a backpack on, right? And every step I took, I felt like another 5 pound plate was put in the bag.
You have wondered what you would be able to do if you were the ultimate version of you, right? You would then have an easy time creating what you want, and yes, effortlessly enjoying life too. Now, you may know this already, the influence you have over your reality is far beyond what you've been told. Soon, you realize that your outer world is merely a mirror of your inner world, and we're here to connect the dots for you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GODMODE.
All right, Sunny. It's good to have you here. So everyone, welcome back to God Mode. We have our friend here, Sunny. He's been not only a friend, he's been with us at Upgrade. He's been through our Upgrade trainings. He's been heavily investing into himself here with us, and also in his own personal development journey. He's been a world-class chef, really world-class chef. And he also has successfully um, gotten to the automotive sales industry and working from really the bottom to the very top. And as he gone through his own journey, as well as utilizing what we've done here at Upgrade, he has, frankly, a fascinating story. A story that many of you, I think, will find very valuable. Many of you will find it to be inspiring. And there's a lot of learnings that I think if you pay attention, you'll be able to get from, Sunny's journey. And I'm going to leave this till the end. He's also been developing something very exciting, as both him and his wife have gone through a lot of trainings and a lot of personal development, and they have put it into practice. And they have found themselves in a incredibly successful, well, let me just wait till the end to tell you, because I think it'll be good for you to listen in and really pay attention to how he's created this journey for himself and how he's gotten the success that he's gotten. And now he has a voice that he wants to share with you guys. And I think that you need to pay attention. So welcome, Sunny. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, William. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here and to share kind of my journey and where I was to where I am today with the audience, and I hope that everybody will take something from it because there's a lot of lessons that I've learned, a lot of things that I have implemented over the time and working with you and just in my journey, and so I look forward to just everybody taking something from it and applying it in their life as they see fit.
That's beautiful. That's exactly why I think it will be very valuable for people. Because, as much as I want to share with the world how awesome you've been, I think it will be worth, telling them, how did you get from point A, and where were you in point A to point A and a half to point B where you are, and where are you going after that? So how about we start with, where were you before you and I met, and when you and I first met?
So yeah, that's a great place to start. So a little about me for the listeners to get some context here. So before I met Will, I had gone through my life very similar to everyone else. I feel like where I had some drive. I kind of had an idea of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, and yet I had no idea how to actually get there. Um, and the best way to describe this was I felt like in my journey before I met Will, I was on a hike through life, and every step I took, and I had a backpack on, right? And every step I took, I felt like another 5 pound plate was put in the bag. And the next step, another 5 pound plate,
Wow.
right? And I went through life literally just job hopping, thought hopping, like literally my thoughts were all over the place. One day I would be interested in, getting out of the food industry. The next day I'm all in and ready to go. Like my brain was all over the place. And I literally for the previous 10 years before I met Will, I was in the hospitality space, but I jumped to new restaurants every 2 years, almost like clockwork. So, looking back on it now, I was in a position in my life where I was quite literally a hot mess. Like I had no consistency. Um, I didn't actually know. I thought I knew where I wanted to go. I truly had no clue. And I was not taking, any of the steps to get there. Looking back on it now, right? Like I see it differently now. Granted, all of that led me to meeting Will, but that's part of the uniqueness about my journey is that I'm a I was hard-headed previously, right? I'm not anymore. Previously, I used to be pretty hard-headed, and I had to learn things, unfortunately, for 10 years of my well, more than 10 years, but 10 years is the bulk of when most of this happened. I learned things through the school of hard knocks, right? Where I had to experience it to then be like, "Oh, yeah, duh, Sonny, that's probably not the best route to go. There's probably a smarter way to do it." Well, I didn't know that, right? Nobody taught me that, nobody told me that. And so I hit a point in my life where it was the breaking point, right? I had hit my threshold of what I was willing to tolerate. And in the moment that I decided that I was ready to do something different, Will showed up in my life. Okay. And we hear stories about this, but it is very when you are ready to learn, when you're ready to grow, the teacher arrives, right? The people, the resources, they show up. Well, I hit that point. I hit my threshold. And then when I decided that, okay, Sonny, you have to do something different, right? You've got to do something different because what I had done previously through my life had got me to where I was, which I had a good life. I didn't have a great life. Okay. And I'm going to say that again because I want the audience to truly hear this. I had a good life, not a great life. And there is a very, very distinct difference. Okay. And when I realized this, I knew I wanted more. But like most of us, I had no clue how to do that, right? Because no one in my family had ever done that, right? That wasn't my model of the world that I was taught. The that wasn't what was trained or shown to me through my life. So I was following in the footsteps of what I'd always been taught. So I made that choice. I made that decision. And then Will showed up, right? And from the second I met Will, I knew that what he had, I wanted. I didn't know what it was yet. Will and I had multiple conversations. Like once we met, we had multiple conversations before I was ready to jump all in. And at the same time, I also had some hesitations, right? Because I when I made this choice that I was ready to do something different, I also made a commitment to myself that okay, I'm not doing the jumping jobs or going where the grass is greener every 2 years anymore. I'm past that. I'm done with that. It was always a pay increase, right? Like it was always an increase, but I had been taught that the grass is greener on the other side. So that's where I was always going. No one ever
Man,
told me,
man.
right?
If I may, I'm going to say this. This is
Please.
this is a very common trend, not only in our career choices. A lot of people make that same kind of choice in relationships.
Yes. Very, very much so. And this whole time, right? Again, when I say I had a good life, that was across the gamut. My health was good. It wasn't great. My career was good. It wasn't great. My relationship with my wife was good. It wasn't great. My relationship with my kids, my family, all of it was good, not great. And there is a very distinct difference. And so as I, one of the as I was as to back to my story, that one of the other commitments that I made to myself was that, I'm not gonna jump ship every 2 years anymore, right? I'm gonna be decisive, and I'm going to make a decision, and I'm gonna stick with it, right? Because I'd always not stuck with my decisions previously. So that was a pattern in my life that I wanted to change. So I made that commitment. Well, as I got in talking to Will, about that time, I transitioned out of the hospitality space and
Hey, you got to tell
into
us real fast. You were a top chef. You didn't even say anything about that.
so okay, guys, Will always tells me to like give myself the proper clout for this. I had a lot of fun in the hospitality space. I was one of the executive chefs on Temple Square for 7 years. When I left there, I opened multiple. I helped friends open multiple restaurants, running front and back of the house. I spent 5 years in fast casual, working with the Costa Vida organization. Like, I had a lot of fun in the hospitality space. Like, some of my best friends and some of the greatest people that I know are still in the hospitality space. And so that's a huge part of my life. And at the same time, it's also a very different version of myself than I currently am today. And so, yes, it was awesome. Yes, I had a lot of success in the industry. And looking back on it, had I known today, had I known that then, I probably I probably could have gone even further than I had ever imagined then, right? So, yes, it
If
was
you know
awesome.
what you know now, if you knew
If
what you
I
know
if
now.
I yes, if I knew what I know
Yes.
now, I would have gone so much further. And at the same time, I still went really far. I was very young to be at the level of chefing that I was, especially having never gone to like never finished culinary school. I literally went to one semester. Um, and I wasn't learning anything different than what I already knew. And so again,
That's great.
as part of the pattern in my life, I was like, peace out, guys. This is,
Hey, and you
like
stuck with all of your upgrade trainings too. You
I
actually stuck
have
with all of them. And so tell me what was 1.5 or A.5, right? Eight and a half.
8.5 was I switched out of I s- I shifted industries and I went into an industry that growing up I had always said I never would, right? And that is the auto industry, right? I watched my dad for years. I watched that industry specifically because my dad was in it, and I'd always told myself, not a chance. Like, you'll never catch me in that industry. And then sure enough, here we are, and I'm in it. So I had shifted over from hospitality to auto, and when I did that, right, I started in sales, fully knowing like I went there with the intention of um, accelerating through. And at the same time, I needed to learn all the aspects of it because, in a lot of ways, like I went into it thinking there were so many differences, I should say, between the hospitality space and the auto space, right? Because I didn't know what I didn't know. And then once I got into it, I was like, all the dots connected. And I'm thinking, man, this is like a direct correlation. Like, this is really easy. Like, this isn't complicated at all. It's very similar as far as operationally how a restaurant runs. So,
Especially for higher end brands, right?
yes, when you get into the luxury segment, absolutely. I mean, it's almost a one-to-one correlation of truly how to connect with a customer, how to sell the customer. I mean, they're so closely related. It was a lot easier of a transition than I thought it would ever be, right? So, I came into this space, started in sales. I sold for 2 months, took over the used car department, right? And about that time, is I when I made that shift, I knew that in order to grow further, right, I needed to do some things about me. Sunny needed some work. And I had come to that realization, and that's when I had decided that okay, it's now it's now time. I had my third child on the way, and I'm like, okay, Sonny, you're 32. Like, let's get it together, buddy. Let's do something about this. That's when I met Will. And in that time frame, so I met Will, and one point, a point five, if you will, of my journey was literally the very first training that I went to. Um, I went from sales into management, and that year, so this would have been November of 2016. I went into management. That following September of 2016, I went to my first training with Will. And from that time, I not only so I shifted completely the used car department and went directly out of that role into the general sales manager, right? Which is for two high line brands, and um coming out of the hospitality space into an industry that I had zero experience in, right? To go from, and so this was a year and a half time frame that I started in the industry to when I took over as general sales manager. Year and a half. Okay. I'm like literally in the group, the organization that I'm associated with. I still to this day am the fastest. I grew into that role the fastest out of anybody ever in the company, right? Which is unheard of. And I'm saying that because I attribute a lot of that to the work that I've done through working with Will and his company, right? Because of what it allowed me to see and do and unlock for myself, right? And so this transition was massive for me because it to put this into context, just from that shift, I um I tripled my income, right? So
Yes, that's awesome.
literally in a year and a half, tripled my income, right? I bought a house and a piece of property that when I started this, I legitimately believed was probably 20 years down the road. And
Wow.
literally inside of 2 years of working with you and the community, um, my life completely changed, right? This unlocked everything for me, and it began to allow me to see the potential that I actually had, right? Because I'd always been in a leadership role. Like when you run kitchens in the hospitality space, you have sous chefs and line cooks and prep cooks, and I mean, you've got bakers and pastry chefs, and I mean, you've got all sorts of things going on. You've got front of the house, so you've got servers. Like, there's a lot going on, and I had never I had never led people. I didn't know how to lead people the way I lead people today, right? And that has come through my journey of learning and understanding myself. Because when I moved industries and went into the auto space, I still didn't know who Sunny was, which is why I was jumping jobs all the time, right? I didn't truly know who I was. I knew I was passionate about food and people and experience, and the seeing people's joy for life, but I didn't understand truly the role that I played in all of that. And so then I shifted to the auto industry, and still I was being given opportunities. Opportunities were literally being presented to me, and I still did not understand the the influence that I could have on people and an organization. And so that transition was a point five, right? It transitioned my entire life. My marriage started to get better, right? Like my wife and I have been married. I mean, we're married 18 years now. We're in our 19th year currently. And at that time we had been married uh 11 years. So, and we had been through a lot in those 11 years. We've been through a lot in the 18 that we've been together, right? And I still, like, even after all that, Sonny still didn't understand who he was. I didn't truly know me. And that all began to change and unlock when I started working with you, right? When I dove into the community and dove into what we teach and what we do, is when that began to change. And so I did that, right? I stepped into this new role as the general sales manager, and it was like I felt in that moment, right? Like I had been through the first phase of your training, and then I felt in that moment that I had just put that backpack back on that I had had the previous 10 years, right? Where every step I took, it literally felt like weight was being added to the bag every step. And I realized I had a very interesting realization. It dawned on me that, I was like, Sonny, you have learned a lot about yourself, and you're evolving, and yet you know nothing yet, right? You haven't even began to scratch the surface of what is actually possible, because I was still dragging, right? That backpack, by the way, of weight was my past, my um the disbeliefs that I had of things that I wanted to happen but didn't actually believe I could make that happen. They were my limiting beliefs. They were all the things that we as human beings find ourselves confronted with very regularly until we do the actual work to move on from it. And so I realized that, and I realized, man, I need to go all in on Sunny, right? Because I'm looking at this organization, right? I'm looking at the sales organization, and when I took it over, to put this into perspective, and this is where we start to transition into, where I am today and what has led to today.
Ooh, this is important. Listen in.
This I realized, right? Like when I took this organization over, and this is where the weight came on to me, was, when I took this organization over in the previous 4 years, okay, and this is two sales departments of two highline brands being Porsche and Audi. Okay, two very reputable brands that are known in the industry to be moneymakers, right? They are, I mean, two coveted brands that a lot of dealers want to get their hands on because they're typically profitable brands. Well, when I took over these two organizations, okay, the used car department was just starting to turn around because I had turned that completely around, but the new car sales were still struggling. And so collectively, between the whole sales department in both stores, the previous years to me stepping into this role, the most we had ever done was 2.5 million in gross in a year. Okay. Which, for an organization this big and these two brands, that's pennies, right? Literally. I mean, that's less than that's less than 300,000 a month. Like it's nothing. Like it's really, um, it's not a lot when you think about how much the inventory costs, how much overhead is. Like, so I stepped into this role, and I had a team of people who were not engaged, um, not forward thinking, not willing. Like they wanted to grow but didn't know how to, and didn't really want to change anything they were doing. And so here I am, right? I'm young, Because at this point in time, I was 32, right? So I'm pretty young to be in this role. And I remember sitting there one day and I'm looking at everything and the thought crossed my mind of like, dude, what did you just get yourself into? Like, and that backpack, that's when the backpack came back. Cause I'm like, dude,
Ah.
can I do this? Can I really do this? Right. Like I was known in the hospitality space for literally the cultures that I built, right? Because I was big into people. I'm very big into people. And it's amazing that I got as far as I did in my previous life, not knowing what I didn't know, right? I got really far, literally having no knowledge of truly how to influence and impact other people's lives. So here we are. I find myself in this moment of time where I'm thinking, dude, I don't know that, A, what did you get yourself into? And B, can you even do this? Like, really, can you actually accomplish this? And in that moment, I decided, okay, I am going all in on Sunny because the only way, like, I knew it was my limiting beliefs. Like, I knew that there were blocks in my mind that were stopping me from seeing the potential of what I had just been presented, the opportunity that had just been given to me. And that was when I decided to go all in on me. So I dove heavily into working with Will, going through his programs, and I have now been a part of the community for, well, since 2016. So I've stuck, as Will said already, right? I've stuck with this and I'm going to continue to stick with it because just it's what I do now. It's part of who I am because this is truly a lifestyle, right? It's not, this isn't you come in, learn something and then go and, life's all hunky dory and things go on. Like if you're committed to growing and evolving as I was, you find a community like this, specifically this one, and you stick with it, right? You stay a part of the organization. So I dove into me, started working with Will and going through, his trainings. And I spent so many hours outside of the trainings working on me, working on who I am, how I show up in the world, how I think, how I view things, right? Like really, really breaking down my model of the world, my filters, and really analyzing and saying, okay, is this one benefiting me? Yes or no? Boom. And I release it and move on. Right. And I started changing all those things about me. Well, fast forward since that time, right? And this is where massive growth has taken place. Okay. This is like when I did that, just so the listeners are clear on this, when I started to do that, I hit a hyper growth zone like I had never experienced before in my life. Okay. And so I'm going to share some numbers with you guys, and I want everybody to understand that this is over a 4-year window. Okay. Massive growth, like more growth than I've ever seen in a business in this short of a time period. Right. And it was because I believe it was because I had put myself personally into a hyper growth zone that then allowed me to maximize the impact that I had and the influence that I had of everybody around me, right? Which then allowed me to accelerate the results within my business. Okay. So when I started this, right, when I had this initial feeling of I needed to do some major work. Like I had already done a lot of work and I had a lot more I needed to do to succeed at this. The business the business was only doing right at this point in time we had shifted up, and the previous 4 years to me stepping into this role, total in 4 years, we had only done 12.9 million dollars in gross over 4 years. Okay. Since I took over and where we are currently, we are sitting at 50,700,000. Okay. Now I want you to think about that. And the bulk of that growth has happened in the last like 18 months, right? Because as we grow, and that's not even the best part. I haven't even gotten to the best part of all of this because I want to share this at the end because this is truly the impact that by changing ourselves, right? As I went through this journey, I realized that the person that could influence all these things, right? Go from, you know, $1 million in net profit to $40 million in net profit, right? Like I knew that all the stuff that I wanted to change had to start with me, right? If I am the captain of the ship, I have to be squared away. I have to be on point. My mind has got to be locked tight, and I've got to know where I want to go. And going through this journey, working with Will, working with the team, working with the community has given me that. It has unlocked a level of clarity that previously I had never experienced and did not even know was possible. Right? And it's given me so much clarity that I'm now headed in a completely different direction than I ever thought I would be going. Right? And so through this journey, right, here are some milestones that have taken place that I want to share with you guys because a lot of this community and a lot of listeners, you guys are business owners. You probably have teams of people. You probably have multiple businesses, right? Like we're business owners and we probably generate a lot of revenue. Well, money's fantastic, right? Money's great. And what's even better is the amount of lives that you can impact through this. Right. So in the last 4 years since I took over running these sales departments, we I have promoted up through, like I have taken these people, developed them, and promoted them into various management roles, other departments, into higher roles than they were. But over a 4 year span, I've promoted 31 people.
Wow.
Okay. 31 people's lives have been changed.
That means 31 families.
31 families have been changed, have been impacted simply because I made a decision that I was going to figure me out, that I was going to go all in on me and figure out and identify and then implement how to maximize my personal influence in everything that I did. Right. And through making that choice has literally impacted probably at this point, right? Like this is 31 families, but all those people, you know, 8 of those 31 are in senior leadership roles. So imagine all the people that they're now impacting, right? And
Oh, yeah.
this is where this gets really cool. That is probably one of the greatest accomplishments in a career that anybody could ever ask for, right? Like I realized through all this journey that yes, I'm going all in on me and I'm figuring me out. And at the same time, as I did that and I became a better leader, I became a more effective leader. I became a more loving leader, a more passionate leader, a more empathetic leader, right? Like all these things started to show up and present themselves. I realized that it's the people, right? The organization, any business, and this, I believe this to be across every vertical in every industry. The business is what the business is. If you want to grow, if you want to grow your business, if you want to grow your organization, grow the people within that organization, grow the people within that group, right? As I used to jump ship because I believed the grass was greener on the other side, no one ever said, hey, Sunny, if you just water the grass that you have, it will be green.
Yes.
Right? Just water the grass you have and you'll have that green grass that you seek elsewhere. No one ever said that to me. They let me go jump ship. They let me do all these crazy things. When the reality is, as soon as I realized that when I moved into the auto space, I then poured into myself so that I could I could then better pour into the people that work with me,
That's
right?
profoundly said.
Thank
That's
you.
that's beautiful. Simple yet profound. Keep going.
Yes. And it's so, and that's the whole point of what I want people to get from this today is truly when we realize that it doesn't matter where you stand in life. Okay. It doesn't matter what level you're at. If you understand that you are in complete control of where you choose to stand and you get to decide if you're going to water the grass with which you stand on, I tell you what, your life will dramatically change. You don't have to go find a new field. You don't have to go find new grass. You literally can take what you have and create the very life you seek. You just have to decide. You have to decide that that's what you want. And then you've got to be willing to literally consider the very thing you've probably never considered before. Because when I met Will, yes, I was looking for him. Didn't know it was him. I was looking for what Will was offering. And at the same time, he at the time was probably, I don't remember, you were probably mid 20s, so you were like half, I felt like you were half my age and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to like this guy is going to be able to show me how to like totally change my life. Well, and I had, so I say that because I had to consider something I'd never considered before. Right? I had to consider the fact that somebody literally I felt was half my age could could help me totally transform my life. And he's not only done that, he's done much more than that for me.
It's been an honor. It's been an honor, Sunny.
He has excuse me. He has unlocked he's unlocked a life for me that had I not gone through his training, had I not worked with him, I don't know that I would see life through the lens for which I see it through today. I don't know that I would have the passion for the direction that I'm going in life and the love that I have for every human that I come in contact with had I not gone through this. Had I not gone to meet Will that day, I don't know that I would be where I am today. Right? And it's not specifically about Will. It's about what he taught me and what he unlocked for me through following what he teaches, through following his program, right? That simple thing profoundly changed my life. It has changed the lives of literally at this point in time, because this is just in, the workspace, but my clients that I coach, the people in my neighborhood, my family, right? Like it's probably hundreds of people now have been impacted simply because I made the choice to first initially go meet with Will, learn what he was all about, learn what he was doing, to now where I am today, where I get up every day and I go all in on me. 100% I go all in on me because if I don't do that, I know that I won't show up for everybody else as the highest version of myself. Right? And that is truly what we do here, right? We take people and we show you how to literally show up in life in every area of your life as the highest version of yourself, right? And because of all of this, right, I am where I am today, which is, you know, through all of this, I've learned that I have a very deep love and passion for people, right? For helping people find and become literally the highest versions of themselves, right? Because everyone has it in them. Everybody has it within each of us. It's simply got to be unlocked, right? And we have the tools and the skills to help people unlock that. if you're willing and open-minded to the fact that you have it within you and you have the ability to unlock it. You just have never known how to, right? It's like you're standing at a door and it's simply turning the door handle and opening the door to literally unlock every possible dream you ever considered in your life to be right there on the other side of that door. We help you unlock the door. Will's program, Will himself, will help you unlock that door, turn the handle, and open it. And if you're willing to do that, and it sounds simplistic, and I can tell you it's literally that simple. It truly is. If you have a willingness to do, okay, I'm going to say that again. If you have a willingness to do, you can literally open that door for yourself because everybody has the knowledge, right? We all have the knowledge we need. Everyone has the resources they have, all the resources they need, I should say. It's simply whether or not we know how to utilize those resources. And Will literally is the best I have ever worked with at identifying that and unlocking it, for helping you unlock that door for yourself. Right. And through that, it has led me to where we are today, right? Where I run these two successful sales departments, right? I have a very successful coaching business. I coach people all over the place. I've got clients, in Hawaii. I've got clients back east. I've got clients in Utah. I've got clients in Oregon. Like, I have a successful coaching business. And I learned, right? And I'm still learning today that there's even more in store for me. I have an even bigger journey that I'm on, right? Because my wife and I, through this process,
By the way, your wife also went through a
yes,
lot of
my wife,
trainings.
I haven't talked a lot about my wife yet. And there's a reason why. Like, we'll have to do another podcast on that journey for her and I. But truly,
We can
she
bring her
went,
on the
she,
next episode.
yes, absolutely, we will. She's been along this journey with me as well. She went through the first class. And what's really interesting is I had to, like, not physically drag, but I had to drag her to the class, right? We met with Will. My wife and I met with Will probably 5 or 6 times
Nah,
before
like
I
2 or 3 times. Not
before
that
I could
many.
even convince her to come to a class and join like the direction I wanted to go. And it wasn't until like the third day in that first event, the first training that we went to, that it clicked for her, and she was like,
We gotta hear her version. We
I
gotta
know.
hear.
Trust me. You'll hear her version. She's not here right now, right? Have her just jump on and share. But no, it's truly like she's been on this journey with me, right? And she's watched it all, and she's had massive transition in herself. But the thing that's really cool is because we did this together, started this journey together, and we're still on the journey together through all of this, right? When I said in the beginning that my life was great, my marriage was great, my physical health was great, right? Like all these things were great, were good. I mean, not great, right? Like everything was good. I thought my life was good, right? Air quotes, I'm good. I don't need anything else. Okay. Going through this journey has unlocked a new level in our marriage that is almost to the level of like, is this real? Like, is this really possible that you can have like this much happiness and joy in a marriage? And we're literally to a point now where I'm like, okay, Sonny, truly, how much pleasure can you endure? Like, how much better can this get? Because we are so connected now and so congruent with each other because we've been on this journey together, right? And for those that, whether you've been married for, a year, 10 years, 20 years, you've never been married you've never been married before and you're just in a relationship. Like, what's interesting about a relationship is when you realize that that other half, that other person in your life, that in the relationship, when you realize that the more connected and congruent you two become, the more unstoppable you become at everything in life. Literally, the more unstoppable you become. There's nothing that you cannot accomplish together when you are literally connected and congruent at the identity level. Well, through this journey, my wife and I have done that. And for all the things that we have been through in the 18 years that we've been married, most everybody in my life, and she can speak to this when she's on, but I'm gonna say in hers as well, had they gone through the things that we've been through in our marriage so far, they wouldn't be together still, right? And so through this journey, her and I both realized that, man, we are so passionate
You need
about
to
our
share it.
marriage.
You need to share it.
Yes, we need to share with people. And so I'm I'm happy to announce that the final phase of all of my journey so far is my wife and I are launching a full-scale marriage program where we are going to take you through 3 phases to literally create the very marriage that you dream of, that you want, that you've always thought. When you see other marriages and you're like, man, I would love to have a marriage like that. We are going to show you and teach you how to literally create that exact marriage for yourself,
Now,
right?
listen,
Because
everyone. Listen, everyone. Listen in. Because I don't usually ask people to come on and share what they've built. But Sunny and I have been talking since the beginning of the creation of this. In fact, I've pushed him. I'm like, hey, man, you guys have a fantastic marriage. And you've utilized these trainings, you've utilized your own learnings, you've utilized everything you've built. And Sunny, for some reason, neglected to mention that he's taken Porsche and Audi, that dealership, to what, like top 5 or top 3 in the country now?
top 3 in the country, yes,
Oh, man, why did you not say that? See, being too humble and having achieved the things that he still hasn't even shared with you. I have to like pry it out of him. So that conversation went just like that. We were at breakfast and I'm like, Sonny, what in the world? Why are you not sharing this? Right? You've got to build a program. And if there's anything I can help you with, I'm going to push you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to share frankly, he didn't really need much help. Him and Melissa are 2 of the most fantastic people we know. And I fully encourage those of you who are wanting to learn about how to create the most fantastic relationship to look into this, right? And so, if you would, now don't give away too much. If you
for sure.
would, tell us big picture. Um, what did you say was second step? Because you talked about how to create it in first step, and there's second, and then there's third. Maybe give the listener the second one, and let them find out what the third one is.
For sure. So really, it's the first phase is going to be, the we're teaching you the kind of introductory basics of relationships, the key to relationships, right? And how two people work together to then collectively build something, right? Um, phase two is where we really dive in to the nuances in a relationship, right? And really teach you how to function together to build something bigger than what you currently have, right?
Synergy.
Because truly in relationships, right? If you've been in one, if you are not connected, if you're not communicating effectively day in and day out, if you are not actively engaged in pursuing your partner day in and day out through your entire marriage, your chances of success in current reality diminishes substantially every day, right? And that's something that we plan on changing. Our whole goal is to, big picture, we are going to decrease the national divorce rate because it's not necessary,
Yes.
right? This is a
Yes.
really, really big deal. And so
We
phase
need this.
three, yes, we do. And phase three is even bigger. I'm not going to share that with you here because I want you to come and check it out. I want you to come and find out for yourself. But I can tell you, after 18 years of marriage, My wife and I have had our ups and downs. We've lost a child. I've lost jobs. We've lost family members. We have discussed divorce multiple occasions, right? We have been to counselors. We have been through so much stuff, right? Both coming from families who weren't weren't an awesome role model for us to what a successful relationship looked like. And so we both came into it and we're like, hey, this isn't really what we want. And so we decided that we've got to create what we actually want. And so through our trial and error, and then through what we've learned and the journey that we have transitioned ourselves through, working with Will and company, we have put together what we believe to be the most impactful marriage program that anybody has ever seen. And we're going to literally give it everything that we have.
Now, listen, everyone. I've seen how Sunny and Melissa work together and what they've put into themselves and what they've studied. I literally would not just bring anyone up to talk about, what they've built. And to be frank, a big part of my motivation is that the reason we built Upgrade is to become a platform that empowers you to do what you're passionate about, to do what you're good at, to help you upgrade humanity. I am, as the rest of Upgrade, here to be your Morpheus, to make you the one that will be able to change the world in the way that you're best at. And what I've seen Sunny and Melissa do is exactly that. And so, marriages, frankly, there are many, many people in this world that deserve better relationships. And I do believe that Sunny and Melissa can help. So I think that we got to do another episode. We gotta invite Melissa onto this, and love to have them, hear more details about how you guys are helping people with marriage, and share some tools on what to do. And frankly, um, just to summarize today, you went from being successful as a chef in the hospitality industry, finding yourselves jumping from one place to another, exhibiting some of the traits that you may say, well, it's non-committal, right? To deciding to commit, but really the commitment is going all in on yourself, right? Going all in on yourself. And so individuals that choose to go in on themselves find themselves excelling in what they do, right? And so being an automotive executive and being able to take your organization from what, like $2 million gross ish, to now in the last 4 years or so, $50 million. That's averaging, what, 5x at least a
Yep.
year.
Yep.
And not to mention being now one of the top three dealerships in these brands in the country. That's a huge transformation for the organization, changing along the way 30 plus families, promoting them into new positions, and not to mention they have impacted people, and those people who live around you, your family members, neighbors, your children, right, and your spouse along the way. And then now, because you've seen how that success has impacted these people, and you have basically collected a series of formulas that help you and your wife become so synergistic, as what Stephen R. Covey would say, synergy, right? Not the sum of the two people working together, but it's like a multiplier effect when the two of you are both upgraded, right? So many of you will wonder, well, how does this work? Well, we're going to have to do another episode. And I think that that's literally what you and Melissa are building. It's the how do you build the most fantastic marriage? And many of you who may have been a part of Upgrade will say, well, how would I benefit from this? Look, we don't teach you how to build the most fantastic marriage. We teach you how to upgrade your OS. We teach you about communication at the individual and or organizational level, but not so much in your marriage. That's not a topic that we spend a lot of time on. So we wanted to have, frankly, it's been a dream come true to see you guys build this program. And to know that you guys are going to apply these principles that I have been so blessed and fortunate to collect over the years and be able to use that to empower others. So I think, yes, we definitely need to do another episode. And thank you so much for being here today and
You're
to
welcome.
share.
Thank you for having me on, and to all the listeners, really, I want to echo what Will said. If you're if you're wondering how this can apply to you, even go to Upgrade and check out what Upgrade has to offer, because that is, Melissa and I have taken everything that we've learned and literally done, like, will literally and figuratively taught us how to upgrade ourselves, upgrade our OS systems, to then actually collectively together take our experience plus everything we know now to now create our program that Will has been so gracious about allowing me to share with you guys today, just the beginning stages of where we're at. Because we, as Will, we want to help and be a part of upgrading humanity, right? We want to be a part of changing people's lives, generations of lives, through the work that we do in marriage, as Will has done in the personal space and the organizational space, right? And so, Will, I thank you for allowing me to be on today, and thank you for everything.
My honor and my pleasure, Sunny. And this is just the beginning. I believe that it's never fun to do things alone. I don't
It's
believe
not.
in I don't believe in the possibility of upgrading humanity by myself. And I believe that the most fun I'm going to have is upgrading humanity with our friends. So,
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you. We'll talk very soon. I appreciate you. And listen up everyone. This is just the beginning. I look forward to helping every one of you upgrade your environment and your lives, and allowing yourself to be open minded so that Sunny and Melissa can help you upgrade your marriage. Talk soon.